Good afternoon, classmates. We are about to present chapter 15, entitled Testing, Debugging, and Verification. First, testing. We have three categories. First is the functionality test, the silicon debug, and the manufacturing test. In functionality test, or logic verification, chips perform its intended function. It is the first step. And the second step, chips run in the first batch that returned from fabrication. This test confirms that the chip operates as it was intended and cannot debug any discrepancies. And lastly, manufacturing test, it verifies that every transistor, gate, and storage element in the chip functions correctly. Next, testing a die or a chip can occur at the following levels. Pwede sa wafer level, package chip level, board level, system level, o kaya sa field level. First, logic verification. The first one, a designer might construct as part of the design process. These were required to prove that a synthesized gate is electron is functionally equivalent to the source IP. Yan, ito yung functional equivalent sa quartz levels ng abstraction. Una, formal verification, as time analysis, noise analysis, layout versus systematic, which is the structure, then sa physical. Next one is the debugging. When a chip returns from fabrication, the first set of tests is running a lab environment, so you need to prepare for this event. You need to construct a circuit board na meron ng 5 inputs, power for the IC, reverb, connections, clock inputs, digital interface sa PC. Lastly, yung third category, manufacturing test. It is used to verify that everything operates as expected. The need to do this arises from a number of manufacturing defects that might occur during either chip fabrication or accelerated time testing. Typical defects na nahanap or na detect dito is clear shorts, maybe metal to metal, discontinuous wires, missing or damaged bias, and shorts through the thin gate oxide the substrate or wet. Next, kung na naman tayo sa testers, fixtures and test program. Testers and test fixtures. A tester is device that can apply a sequence of stimuli to a chip or system under test and monitor and or record the result of those operations. Testers come in various shapes and sizes. To test the chip, one or more of 4 general types of test fixtures may be required. These are the follows. When it's probe card, to test at the wafer level. When it's load board, to test a package part with a chip tester. When it's PCB for bench level testing. PCB with chip C2, demonstrate ng system of application, and probe card or load board for the device under test is connected to the tester. Next, siyempre hindi na naman makakapag-test kung wala ang test program. The tester requires a test program. In verification and test, this is an overloaded term. This program is normally written in a high-level language. For instance, the image language used by Teradyne is based on C that supports a library of primitives for a particular tester. The test program specifies a set of input patterns and a set of output assertions with mga parameters. Third, handlers. An IC handler is responsible for fitting ICs to a test fixture attached to a tester. Tubes or trays contain package chips can be used to gravity feed the device to the handler, which uses a variety of mechanical wheels to pick the chips up and place them in the test socket on the load board. Ito naman tayo sa logic verification principles. Una is yung test vectors. Test vectors are a set of patterns applied to inputs and a set of expected outputs. Both logic verification and manufacturing test require a set of test vectors. Ginagamit yung test vectors sa logic verification test at manufacturing test. Test benches and harnesses. A verification test bench or harness is a piece of HDL code that is placed as a wrapper around the core piece of HDL to apply and check test vectors. So, para ma-check yung test vectors, gumagamit ng test bench or harness. In the simplest test bench, input vectors are applied to the module under test at each cycle. At the outputs are examined to determine whether they comply with the predefined and expected data set. Next, yung regression testing. High-level language games are frequently used when running large test bench, especially for regression testing. It involves performing a suite of simulations to automatically verify that the functionality as inadvertently changed in a module or set of modules. Dito naman sa regression, hindi lang isang klase na simulation, hindi madami. Set siya para ma-test o malaman kung may nabago sa program na sa IC. Next. Apat naman yung version control. Combined with the regression testing is the use of versioning. That is the orderly management of different design iterations. Unix, Linux tools such as CBS or Subversion are useful for this. That's yung bug tracking. Another important tool to use during verification and impact the whole design cycle is a bug tracking system. Bug tracking systems such as the Unix or Linux-based GNATs allow the management to provide variety of bugs. In this system, each bug is entered and the location, nature, and severity of the bug noted. The bug discovered is noted along with the perceived person responsible for fixing the bug. Next. Ano naman sa silicon debug principles, a major challenge in silicon debugging is when the chip operates incorrectly. But you cannot ascertain the cause by making measurements sa chip pins or scanning outputs. Dito naman, tinetest kapag yung chip nag-operate na ng mali.
So the next is manufacturing test principles. First is the fault models. To deal with the existence of good and bad parts, it is necessary to propose a fault model or a model for how faults occur and their impact on circuits. Backup model and So first, parang tinetest muna kung scan and built-in self-test improves the observability of a system and can reduce the number of tests vectors required to achieve the desired results coverage. 8 is the delay fault testing. The fault models dealt with until this point have neglected timing. Failures that occur in CMOS will leave the functionality of the circuit untouched but affect the timing. So delay faults may be caused by crosstalk, and delay faults can also occur more often in SOI logic through the history effect. Software has been developed to model the effect of delay faults and is becoming more important as failure mode as processes. So, for the design for testability, there are three main approaches to what is commonly called as design for testability or DFT. First is ad hoc testing. In ad hoc tests, these are the collections of ideas aimed at reducing the combination explosion of testing. So, there are four common techniques for ad hoc testing. First is partitioning large sequential circuits, adding test points, adding multiplexers, and providing for using state resetting. Second, aside from ad hoc testing, there is scan design. The scan design strategy for testing has evolved to provide observability and controllability at each register. In designs with scan, the registers operate in one of two modes. The two modes are normal mode and the scan mode. In normal mode, they behave as expected. But in scan mode, they're connected from a giant shift register called a scan chain spanning the whole chip. Next is the built-in self-test or BIST. Self-test and built-in test techniques, as their names suggest, rely on augmenting circuits to allow them to perform operations upon themselves that prove correct operation. These techniques add error to the chip for the test logic but reduce the time required and thus can lower the overall efficiency. So, methods of testing a module is first signature analysis and cyclic redundancy testing. And next is the IDDQ testing, a method of testing for bridging faults is called IDDQ test, or supply current monitoring. This relies on the fact that when a CMOS logic gate is not switching, it draws no DC current. When a bridging fault occurs, then for some conditions, the measure the DC IDDQ.
So, the design for manufacturability of CMOS are on physical redundancy, power process spread, and yield analysis. At the boundary scan, the increasing complexity of boards and the move into technologies, such as surface mount technologies, resulted in system designers agreeing on a unified scan-based methodology called boundary scan, for testing chips at the board and system level. Pitfalls and fallacies. Following more stories are collected from real products at a wide variety of companies and published with permission, often under the condition of an injury. They are presented to illustrate some of the pitfalls that can happen to smart people who are dealing with complex systems on a tight schedule. So, in a product in the field that hangs unpredictably, a microprocessor has been in the field for several years when reports began arriving from major customers that certain programs would cause the system to hang at unpredictable times with intervals of hours and days. When a product fails after the manufacturing process matures, a team designing a data communications product was comfortable with a particular microprocessor that was at the end of its production run. Then, the team negotiated to order several thousand units of the discontinued microprocessor before production was shut down. A microprocessor was taped out and came back nearly fully operational, but minor changes were made to the layout and documentation was developed. Then, a second revision, or colloquially called a second spin of the chip, was taped out. After then rebooting the operation system during silicon debug, a microprocessor operated as expected at low voltage. At high voltage then, the part only functioned at low frequency, and the high voltage loop is an indication of a coupling is exacerbated by the fast edge rates associated with high voltage operation. During silicon debug, a microprocessor and cache only function correctly over the peculiar range of voltages and frequencies shown here. Test code exercising the cache revealed that failures were caused by bad data being read from the cache. Can isolated the problem to its dynamic multiplexer choosing one of the global. Then a floating point coprocessor was tested by running the late back benchmark, which performs a series of floating point operations and generates a checksum to verify the result. The chip will occasionally produce the wrong checksum. But one of the engineers needed a coprocessor by removing the heat sink and found that the coprocessor became reliable as reliable. An application-specific integrated circuit was fabricated on a gate array via third-party gate array manufacturer. Although static timing analysis predicted that the chip would function fast enough, the manufacturer found that most of the chips would not operate at the desired frequency and instead had to be derated or bumped. So some class chip failures include insufficient simulation. A ring oscillator was placed on the chip as a test structure to verify that the hardware was at least partially functional, even if the rest of the chip did not work. Although it did oscillate, it had not been simulated because it was too simple. Another one is incomplete top-level verification. A pad frame was used that was incompatible with the normal verification flow. The chip cores were verified, placed in the pad frame, and then routed to the pads. DRC simulation were not performed in the connections, so students carefully scrutinized their routing